Hey everybody, I'm here today to show you how to install a mesh subfloor. So if you take a look, I have sheets of plywood that are down as a subfloor, and then I was installing this mesh subfloor because on top of the mesh subfloor I would be putting a scratch coat, and then I would be putting some tiles. So the first step is to lay the mesh out. So if you take a look on the left side of the screen, you can see that I have the first sheet of mesh subfloor laid out. And the next step, once you have it all laid out and straight, is to use a staple gun to staple the mesh sheet down onto whatever it is beneath it. And in my case, once again, there is plywood beneath it. So one thing is to be sure that you have a lot of staples for the staple gun, because you will definitely go through plenty of staples. Now when you are stapling down the mesh subfloor, be sure to get any areas that are popping up. Be sure to staple those down. Use as many staples as you need. Once you're done with the first sheet, you can see that I have placed the next sheet beside the first sheet. Now you will be able to intertwine the edges of those sheets of mesh. Do not overlap them, because that will cause the edges to be raised up. Do not overlap them, but instead just intertwine them. And I'll just show you right here that the edges are intertwined, as you can see. And I have placed a staple, every 6 or 8 inches in between, over top of both of the edges. So you can see right there that the edges are intertwined, and I have placed a staple, as you can see right there, that goes over both of the edges. So the process is the same for the second sheet of the mesh. Just staple it down. Make sure that you get all along the edges and all along the inside, and then feel with your hands feel with your hands to ensure that any areas that are popping up, you staple them down. Another tip that I can give you is to wear gloves. I didn't wear gloves, and I paid the price. My hands were absolutely in pain once I had finished. So the process is the same for the third sheet, and I just skipped over the third sheet because it was the same as the first and the second, and then the fourth sheet. It's the same process once again. But the only thing that was different for my fourth sheet, and you will probably encounter something like this when you are installing a mesh subfloor, is an obstruction of some sort. So if you take a look on the bottom right hand of the screen, you can see that there is a floor register. There is basically a vent for my air conditioning system and my heating system. So you cannot put the mesh directly over that and staple it down, because you will be covering the vent or whatever it is that is obstructing your mesh subfloor. So I will be momentarily going to a part of the video where I show you what I did, but basically you're going to want to cut out the mesh that is over the obstruction. And then you're going to want to secure the, outside of whatever it is that you have cut out. So if you take a look right here, you can see that the mesh goes over the hole for the floor vent over there. I'm just using some tin snips to cut around the floor vent. And once again, be sure to wear gloves. Like I said, I didn't wear gloves, and especially when you're cutting the mesh, it becomes very sharp. Once you've cut around whatever it is, you can use a staple gun and staple down around where you cut, just to ensure that it is secure. And I would be sure to place a few extra staples when you are cutting out the mesh, just to ensure once again that it is secure. What I am showing you now is the fact that I did not overlap, I did not allow the seams of the mesh to be directly in line with the seams of the subfloor. With the plywood subfloor, make sure that your mesh overlaps over the seams of your plywood subfloor. And that's basically it. That is essentially how you install a mesh subfloor. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.